Filipino, and then the whole Black Lives Matter movement happened while I was out there, and it was a lot, you know.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, and we are live. I want to thank everyone for tuning in to a very special edition of the People's Podcast this afternoon. We have a great panelist today who is going to give us some great information as well as inspiration. Her name is Nurse. I'm not going to butcher your name, but Nurse Rouella. But how do you pronounce your name, ma'am?
It's Rouella, but everyone calls me Rolo. It's
okay,
easier.
yes, okay, excellent. Well, first of all, I want to thank you for being such a help to people. I want to thank all the essential workers everywhere. And I want us to, first of all, the main question I keep hearing and seeing is, should people wear masks?
Absolutely. Absolutely. People should definitely wear masks. I think that everyone is using, America's rights and our laws and free will, basically to their advantage, but when essentially we should use it to help protect each other,
Yes, ma'am.
Like me, I'm a healthcare worker. I'm exposed to it all the time. Like what if I decided, like, you know what? I wore it all day, every day at my job. I shouldn't have to wear it out and about. And I'm young, I'm resilient. I basically have zero comorbidities. And what if I'll use the word selfish, and decided not to wear a mask on my own when I was out and about and expose myself to whoever I come in contact with? That's not fair. I know what I'm exposed to. I know what I could possibly spread. And not only to older people, not only to people with comorbidities, but people who are young and resilient just like me, who also can become carriers.
Okay, yes, ma'am. Thank you. And thank you all for watching. Continue to watch the People's Podcast. My next question for you is it only older people who get it? Or can I be in good shape? I like to fight. I know I'm around a lot of athletes. Can athletes get it, or just if you're older?
No, it seems more prevalent in older people. I'm not the scientist that work, with everything COVID, but I am a registered nurse that has worked with COVID for the last couple months. I've been in New Jersey when it popped off out there, and then I returned here to Arizona just to have the same thing. I've noticed from my experience, it's not just older people that get it. It's young people. Young people are getting it. We have a younger population. And I honestly, I see that more here in Arizona because we've opened up. We have people that have gone to Old Town and have exposed themselves to each other. And now we're getting a higher amount of people coming in that are younger. I'm not saying that they're dying. I'm not saying that they're all dying, but you can get it and you can be hospitalized. You have to protect yourself. You have to protect others. And no, so it's not just old people. I know older people who have comorbidities, asthma, COPD, lung cancer, comorbidities. Yeah, of course, they're going to get sicker, just like with everything else. Like, you would expect someone that's older, that has lung issues, that won't do so well when they get the flu, won't do so well if they had AIDS. You know what I mean? Like that's just with anything else. We just have to be smart, but that doesn't mean I'm going to go ahead and expose myself, expose everybody else just because I'll be fine, But absolutely, young people can definitely get it. And I've seen the worst of the worst.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. And Malika Ubaka says good info. Thank you, Malika. My next question for you is, when you say you've seen the worst of the worst, could you give us a story to help visualize it for people who may not understand?
So in New Jersey, it's Arizona has gotten kind of a preview using New Jersey, New York, the East Coast, just to see what could possibly happen. When I went out there, it was happening. That was the case. We were in the pandemic. So, you know, when I got over there, it probably sticks to me every day. I think about this young girl every day. The culture out there is a little bit different because everybody kind of lives on top of each other. That's New York, that's New York, that's New Jersey. You know, I'm from New York, so I get it. And that's one of the big reasons why I went out to help. So families were getting COVID, you know. So dad came in and he didn't do well. I mean, he wasn't old, you know, I don't know, you know, old is such a vast broad word, but he probably in his 50s or so, and you know, he ended up not making it. You know, he was in our ICU and he didn't make it. 2 weeks later, his daughter comes in with COVID, and you know, she's young. She was 31 years old. She's younger than me, you know? And when you're awake, when you're alert and you can make your own decisions, we are all for it. But when we're trying to help suggest certain things, you know, the doctors talk to her, the nurses talk to them, like, hey, you need more oxygen. This isn't working. You know, as the disease process takes over, she just kept getting worse. And, you know, when you can't breathe, there's certain things you can't do anymore. Like you went from a nasal cannula to a non-rebreather to a high flow, but now you have a mask on. Now you have, it's called a BiPAP. And with this BiPAP on that they have over there, it covers your whole face and it forces air so you're able to breathe, get the oxygenation your body needs. But you're so oxygen deprived, like you need so much oxygen that it's once you take it off, your oxygenation drops. And it's hard to even eat now. You know, you can't eat, you can't, because you can't breathe, you know? And so what a scary feeling that is. You know, like people are like, oh, I got this mask on walking around the grocery store, I can't breathe. You know, oh, I can't breathe. No, you can breathe. You just need to relax and breathe. Now these people in the hospital that have these BiPAPs on that possibly need to get intubated, they can't breathe. And you know, she's awake, she's alert, she's one of those people that we can actually tell, like, hey, this is what's happening, we need to do these things. And she's so scared that she just keeps telling us no. You know, like, no, don't intubate me, no. Because, you know, like, I'm not saying like that everybody gets intubated, but the ones that do get intubated are people who need to be intubated. They can't breathe on their own, basically. It's not helping them. They're essentially dying. So we're explaining these things to her. 2 days, she kept saying no. 2 days, her heart rate is trying to compensate for her lungs. So she's probably about in the 120s, 130s, 140s, 150s. Her heart rates, that's like I work out. If people know who I am, I work out. And so, you know, that's my Instagram site, Rolo Fit. Like I work out, that's what I do. But when you work out, your heart rate goes up, obviously. Her heart rate is probably like in the 130s, 140s, 150s. That's like me working out every day for 48 hours. 48 hours nonstop. You know, she's maxed out on everything. And every time we ask her, like, hey, we need to do this. No. Basically, she is scared. Who wouldn't be? Who wouldn't be to have to make that decision to where you're going to get intubated and you're afraid you're not going to wake up, you know? And then by that third day, I came in the next morning and, you know, that was me and someone else's patient. And they're like, hey, all I hear is, you know, they're like, oh, okay. She says yes. She says yes. Let's do it. Let's intubate her. Because she's literally exhausted herself. Like, please help me. And by the time we're doing it, she's coding. I literally walked onto the unit and all I hear, that they call me Arizona because I live in Arizona. But literally all I hear is, Arizona, get in here. And all I recall at that time is just pounding on her chest all of a sudden. We were talking to her the day before or earlier that day, right before I came in, and now we're pounding on her chest. 45 minutes we did this. 45 minutes. And it's exhausting. It's exhausting mentally, it's exhausting emotionally. You know, you've literally just talked to this person. You know, in my head, in my thoughts, my thing is like the one thing that she was scared of is happening. This is happening. The one thing that she was scared of that would happen is happening. You know, we're tubing her, and we don't know if she's gonna wake up, and then she didn't make it. No, so no. The answer was no. She didn't wake up. You know, and what people don't see and what people don't experience, what I see nurses, just nurses in general, aides, techs, everybody in the hospital, is that depending on the hospital protocol, these people are by themselves. We can't let you just come in there and be with your family members. You know, it just exposes everybody. And the sad part is, you know, I'm a very empathetic person. If you know me, I love people, I love hugs, I love high fives, you know. These family members come in, you essentially can't really touch them either, you know. And just to give you kind of a raw version of it, we pounded on her chest. We cut a rope, not huge cut, but the intensivist, you know, tried to put a tube in because, you know, there was a lot of other things going on with her, but like at the end of the day, we took all the tubes out. We took all the patches off. We took all her oxygenation tubings off. We cleaned her up. We put a new gown on. We turned the bed so we could push her body up against the window. So when her family does come in, they're able to view her. That's how they said goodbye. That's how they said bye, is through a window. They couldn't even touch her. They couldn't even brush her hair, you know, and it's the reality of it right now, you know, and it's not like I've never lost a patient before, but you go from losing a patient to where the family members come in, they bring in their favorite things, they bring in their favorite clothes, you know, like, oh, she used to love this, or the family members packing up their things. And as they're packing up their things, they tell you the funny parts about them. They tell you, you know, like, well, what did she say when she was going? You know, like just like funny little quirks like that. You know, I told her she'd be around for a long time. You know, they say these funny things or they say these loving things, that they're there, they're picking up their clothes like, oh my gosh, I can't believe she brought this shirt to the hospital. Her face is so old. You know, those little things that make a person, it's not there, you know? No one experiences that anymore. It's cold and it's quiet and it's scary, you know?
Yes, ma'am. And thank you for your work on the front line. And you have a lot of comments, and I'm coming to you all's comments. Okay, so I have two questions I want to ask specifically for people who I know. These are my homies. One of them, he deals with clubs, right? So he does security at a lot of the popular clubs. They're opening up the clubs back in Atlanta. I try to warn him about doing security at the clubs. Right. Is that a good thing? Like he thinks he don't think he can catch it from doing security at a club. How can I help, you know, help him understand that from a medical standpoint?
Any kind of contact that you make with somebody, you can definitely catch it. You know, I mean, if you're being security at the club, and I'm assuming you're a great security person, so I'm assuming you're gonna be checking these people, right? Do they check them? Do they check for weapons? Do they pat people down? Is that what they do?
Absolutely.
So that's you coming in contact with someone right away. I mean, of course, wearing masks help, but that's, you know, and there's gonna be masses of people. How many people are you gonna be in contact with? How many people are you touching? You know, you can definitely get it being security. You can get it just being out and about. It's just it's exposure right now, and we're trying to contain it. That's why we ask people to stay home. And if you do happen to go out, try not to be around a lot of people.
Okay.
It's hard. I get it. It's hard, but it's just what needs to happen right now.
Okay, excellent. And once again, thank you, and thank you all for watching. My next question is the social media. There's people who are conspiracy theorists, right? So I've seen some of the effects of people personally, and I knew a minister who was like a preacher in New York who passed away, who was close to my family from it. But people still come up with conspiracy theories, like these conspiracy theories, like it ain't real or it's not. How do you explain you seeing somebody dying, you banging on their chest? How do you explain that to people who just believe it's a conspiracy and people aren't dying from it?
Honestly, some people are going to believe whatever they want to believe. It's just, the thing is, they probably won't believe it unless if it personally affects them finally. And I don't wish that on anybody. Like, I've had several people reach out to me like, hey, bro, I'm sorry. Like, I have personal friends that say, it's not that big of a deal, bro. We'll be fine. That was just in New Jersey, and I've definitely had people, that's publicly went live talking about it's 5G, it's COVID isn't a thing. There's all these things, and a lot of people are going to believe that until they're affected by it personally, and it's sad, because that's the last thing I would want a person, that would be the last way I would want you to start believing in something, because it finally affected you in a negative way. Like, if someone tells me that this is real, be careful, I'm probably going to believe you, especially if there's people dying from it, But I don't know. I honestly think that sometimes people argue just to argue. People argue just to show that they have a voice. People protest certain things because we have that right to, and then that's the US. That's what we are. We are the voice of the people, and everyone just wants to make sure they can still exercise that right. And the scary part is when you are going live on Facebook, when you are going on social media or posting certain things and speaking your piece that you're not really sure of, you're just stating your opinion, you can really hurt a lot of people, that, especially if you have a big following. If you have a big following and you're telling people, oh no, it's fine, I'm fine, I don't wear a mask, I run around, I'm healthy, look at me and my kids, we've been fine this whole time, and all these people are following you, you're going to get a lot of people sick, because not everybody is fine. Not everybody is as healthy. Not everybody has that resiliency as that person may have. People are going to get sick. People are going to get really, really sick, and people can die because people are following other people that don't know really what's going on.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, one more question before I come to the audience's question, and thank you again for your great information and your personal testimony, and thank you all for continuing to watch the People's Podcast. My next question is dealing with the opposite sex. Okay, so if somebody has a girlfriend or has a boyfriend and they trying to see each other, what is dating like now? Is it we gotta wear masks, or what's the rule? Like what's that? What's it like? Yeah, the dating. What's the dating situation like?
Well, the dating scene is hard, I'm sure, just in general, without COVID. Without COVID. Thank God I'm married.
Yeah.
But that's tough. If you are thank goodness social media is where it's at right now. I feel like okay, call them Facebook thugs, But like people talk a big game on Facebook, people talk big games on Tinder or whatever apps that they were talking, you know, then all of a sudden COVID pops up and all of a sudden, oh, we need to meet now. Oh, y'all need to meet now? Now y'all want to meet? You know what I mean? Like now y'all want to meet? Right now, right now. So my thing is, yeah, I would recommend wearing a mask, you know, especially if you're just knowing this person. You don't know their lifestyle. You don't know what they do. You know, like you don't know what they do. And I would probably try to minimize your dating pool. You know, like options is great. That's what's up. But you know, I would just definitely really narrow it down. If you're gonna meet people, I would recommend just kind of like waiting a little bit because honestly, COVID does some crazy stuff to people. People could be desperate, you know. So
you're saying people with COVID act different or like are acting crazier because they have COVID?
No, not people who have COVID. People in general during this time because people, no, absolutely, people are acting way different now because of COVID. Some things are good, you know. There are a lot of people on social distancing and stuff, but some people don't handle isolation well. You know, some people have to be in the midst of people all the time continuously or have that feedback from another person continuously. But like mental health is such a big thing right now.
Yes, ma'am.
You know, and not a lot of people talk about it. And me coming from a Black family, for the Black man, not a lot of people talk about it, especially. You know, it's a big thing. So I think that's something to take into consideration if you're hitting up the dating pool during this COVID time. You know, everybody's minds aren't exactly right now. And I think, you know, I would probably try to get to know them more over social media for a while before actually meeting up, you know?
Yes, ma'am.
There's Zoom, obviously. There's FaceTime, you know, and then that's the thing. Like people talk on the phone, people, you know, video chat all the time, but then all of a sudden COVID pops up like, oh no, we gotta meet. We gotta meet now. You know, you got your mask, we gotta meet. You know, like
gotta meet.
Right. Now?
Exactly. You know? Okay, and thank you all for your comments. I'm coming to them. My next question for you is Khadija Kareem says, oh, also I'm an advocate for mental health. So everybody, let's make sure we get therapy, mental health awareness. I'm all for it. Khadija Kareem says she has a friend who's had it since April. She's still not feeling so well. Her friend, I'm assuming. What can she do to beat it?
Is she? My question is she at home, or, you know, if you're at home, then there's several things that you can do to try to stay out of the hospital. You know, if you need to go to the hospital, go. But if you don't need to go to the hospital and it's manageable at home, stay at home. Like I promise you, stay out of the hospital if you can, because once you're in the hospital, you know, I think it exposes you a little bit more if you actually go into the hospital. Because if you do have COVID, or if we're ruling you out, we're probably going to put you on a COVID unit. And that means almost every person there has COVID, or we're ruling it out. And so I feel like that exposes you more. So if you can stay at home and manage it at home, do that. If you see your doctor and they say that they think you have pneumonia and they put you on some kind of empiric antibiotic or something to help with those symptoms, because we can handle those things, do that. Proning is a really important thing. Just the way the disease process is, what proning is lying on your stomach for periods of time. So if you can do that, that's really good. Doctors always tell us that, like, hey, prone your patients, tell them lay on your stomach, you know, as long as you can. Make sure you're eating and drinking. Electrolytes, get those electrolytes in, keep on drinking, keep on eating. The last thing you want to do is not have that reserve to help fight this infection.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, great.
Of course, wash your hands.
Yeah. Wash your hands. Okay. So Ronald says, as a wife and mother who puts her life at risk to possibly not be able to return home to her loved ones, trying to save life of partygoers is insane. Absolutely, Ronald. Thank you for that. Sister, hold on one second. I saw it. My sisters, Mimi and Naima says peace. Malika Ubaka, absolutely. Some of these questions y'all gotta ask directly to her, like offline, because it's going to go into other conversations. I'm not going with like theories and stuff right now. So Levin wants to know, what's the best thing to do at home to prevent the spreading of the virus?
Always wash your hands. You go outside to go do something, come back inside, you wash your hands. If you guys know me, like me and my family, we're all fitness freaks. Like we all do fitness. So we actually have a gym inside our garage. So my kid, like we have kind of a process on how we clean our equipment all the time. Once a person's done in there, they clean it. We have a thermometer in my garage, and not many people come over, but I have like a select 2 or 3 people, and I kind of know their lifestyle, and if they do come over, you know, I tell my husband, I was like, no one comes in the house unless you temperature check them, ask them about their day, and everybody washes their hands. And honestly, the people we temperature check stay in the gym. They don't even come in my house. But to prevent it, you just keep washing your hands. Prevents so many things, and you don't realize that you don't wash your hands sometimes. And now, once you start thinking about it, you know, of course, you wash your hands after we use the bathroom. Well, y'all better wash your hands if you use the bathroom. I'm just saying, like that. But you know, you go out and go do something. Like you go check the mail. You go, you know, we don't know who's handled your mail. You go check your mail. You come inside. You wash your hands because you don't want to bring stuff inside. And I've noticed some people that have, I'm not sure how relevant this is, but I've noticed people that check their mail instead of bringing it inside the house. They check it and then they either leave it in the garage or like their front porch. They kind of leave it before going through it. They like kind of let it sit for like a day or 2, and then they check it, just because the lifespan of the virus and such. Wear a mask when you go out, you know, and then kids, if you have kids, you have to just stay on top of them. Kids are sticky, man. I have 4. They're sticky at all ages. So like, just make sure that they wash their hands as well. They have, it's hard, but you have to stay on top of that too. And make sure everyone's eating right, drinking. So this is a really, really important thing I want to say is that, you know, people are asking me like, oh, what kind of patients do you usually see in the hospital? I've seen all kinds. I've seen from their 20s all the way to, you know, old, like 90s, 90, 98, 99. I've seen 102, you know, but like a big factor of COVID is weight. Every single young person that I've taken care of in the hospital that have not done well, I'm just going to use those words, not done well, are overweight young people. This doesn't, you know, if your usual everyday motivation doesn't get you going, this should. You know, weight we don't exactly know what factor it plays, but weight has a really big factor on COVID patients.
Damn. Okay. Whew. All right. So we got to stay in shape. We got to wear masks.
Stay in shape. Right. Stay in shape.
Okay. Khadija Kareem says she washes her hands every time she thinks of this thinks of COVID. Thank you, Khadija. My sister Miriam says, thank you both for this relevant and informative interview. No problem, Mimi. And she said, Khadija said she heard weight was a problem from Dr. Berg on YouTube. Wow. Okay, my next question is from Layla Love. What do you think about COVID vaccinations, and what are some natural alternative treatments or therapies?
COVID vaccination. I'm still learning more about that. I know we haven't come up with one yet. I know I'm a vaccinator. I've always been a vaccinator. But as I'm getting older, I'm a little bit more aware of, well, what am I getting this vaccine for? You know what I mean? I question a lot more things, you know.
Okay.
And then of course, me being in the healthcare field, there's some requirements that we have. Of course, if we don't do those certain things, there's other things you have to do. Like if I didn't get the flu shot, I'd have to wear a mask through the whole flu season, you know, which I've always gotten the flu vaccine. And and the thing is, we don't know enough about this virus for me to talk about a vaccine really. Just because even the flu, like there's different strains. There's two main strains that we cover, which is influenza A and influenza B. You know, those are the main ones that we see in the hospital. But like when it comes to COVID, I really don't know enough to say much about a vaccine. Am I gonna get it? I don't know. I need to know a little bit more, you know?
Yes, ma'am.
I would really need to know a little bit more just because it's new. And I've spoken to doctors, intensivists, you know, a lot of people say like, oh, this is just like the flu. No, this is something that the word coronavirus has been around. You know, the actual technical virus has been around, but I've spoken to intensivists that have been doctors for over 30, 40 years, and this is something that they've never seen before. The way it affects people, the way it's affecting our community, this is something that they have never seen before. What was the second part of the question?
I think you answered both. I think you answered both of them.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Remedies and such.
Yeah, yes, ma'am.
I don't know. I don't know about any natural remedies. I've never been like a natural based person. I work with medicine, and evidence based practice is what I do. So that's really what I go for. Of course, I mean, granted, I'm Filipino too, so you know we do a lot of whole ginger and stuff. But symptom wise, like my thing is like if you feel sick, try to control your symptoms. That's what it is. Your symptoms. If you feel like you're having temperatures, take some Tylenol. Tylenol is an antipyretic. You know, unless if you have liver disease, be careful. But you know, if you have a sore throat and you don't want to go in for that, try to do things to help with that. You know, try to be a little bit proactive with your health, and like things such as, you know, people take elderberry. Elderberry is good to help prevent so the common cold. Or you know, every day turmeric, ginger, you know, like stuff that'll help build your immune system. If I were to say anything is herbal or natural, I would say take your herbal remedies to help boost your immune system.
Yes,
Vitamin
ma'am.
C, you know, take your vitamins, your multivitamins every day. You know, just try to live a healthier life. You know, if you're not doing 30 minutes of some kind of activity a day, add that. Whether it's 30 minutes walking around, you know, 30 minutes consistently cleaning the house, you know. Vacuuming takes a lot of work.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Do it for 30 minutes, you know, like just whatever you're doing, increase that. Whatever you're doing, do better today. Or if you're not better today, do better tomorrow. We have to do better every day.
Okay, excellent, and thank you. Khadija Kareem says she's learned. Khadija Kareem says she learned valuable information. She can share with everyone. Thank you so much. Brother Joseph, he's a nurse as well. Says good teaching. Thank you, Brother Joseph. Boom. And then Ronald says, what was it like being away from your family and husband, who's a Black man, and then the protest breaks out after what happened to George Floyd?
Oh, that was probably another feat in itself. You know, sorry. it was probably another scary thing to go through while you're out there, you know. Um, to have those things happen and being away from your kids, it's a scary thing. Um, you know, I have a range, an age range of kids. My youngest is 2, it's a girl, and then I have a 4-year-old boy, an 8-year-old boy, actually 9 today, and I also have a 16-year-old son, a 16-year-old black son, um, who I'm not saying it's like it's a stereotype, but a 16-year-old black son who now has dreads, you know? So it's not like you can't tell my son is black, or you can't tell my other kids are black. You know, my daughter has an afro, you know, like,
yes,
so, and my husband is black. It was probably one of the scariest things I went through when that happened out there. So let's talk about Ahmaud Arbery. He was running, you know, because to stay active. If you know my husband, he's a very active person and he runs as well. That could have easily been my husband.
Yes, ma'am.
You know, and it's so scary because when I'm out there and I'm not able to be at home with my kids to remind them like, hey, if we get pulled over, hands up, you know. My son's 16, we're gonna be teaching him how to drive. I called my husband like, hey, boo, remind him, hands on the dashboard and do not move them. Those are the words that I used. You know, and my dad's black, and he lives in Utah, so he's a very fit guy, and he runs probably 5 miles Monday through Friday every morning. He's military, so like you tell me what time it is and I can tell you what he's doing, what he's eating, probably what he's wearing. So he eats the same thing. Like I can tell you what he's eating. Like I can tell you what he's doing. You tell me what time it is. And so I think, you know, there's certain things that he didn't even tell me. Like my sister had to tell me. Like she was like, "Hey, did Dad tell you he got pulled over the other month?" Like, what do you mean? Like, oh well, he was running around in his neighborhood and he got pulled over. I was like, well, what did he do? I was like, well, Dad, you know, Dad, he put his hands up and like, hey, I live over here. And then as he kept on running and he gets pulled over again, you know? And the thing is, you know, in that case, my dad lives in Utah. My dad's black. He lives in a predominantly white neighborhood. They live in Utah, for heaven's sake.
Yes,
they're like, but but the thing is, my dad, he understands. They were probably, I think that someone was messing with one of the abandoned buildings or something. And it's just, but this, and I was telling my dad, like, Dad, you didn't even tell me this is, like, no, I didn't even go like that. You know, everyone was fine. I was like, the dad, I was like, he was like, are you mad that they pulled me over? I was like, no. I was like, they're probably just doing their job. And then that's fine. But the fact that, you know, that's happening around this time, it's scary.
It is.
You know, it's scary, and I couldn't even be at home with my kids to talk to them about these things. You know, my 8-year-old, he asked, like, yeah, Mom, he was like, why did they shoot that guy? You know, it's scary. Like, what are we supposed to tell our kids now? You know, and it's a scary thing. I actually was able to march out in New York, so that was pretty amazing. There's this church group of men called Kings. I think I'm don't quote me, but I'm pretty sure it stands for knowledge, inspire, and nurture through God. I'm pretty sure that's what it stands for, but great group, and we were able to march through New York City, and it just happened to be like one of my last days out on the East Coast, and it definitely worked out. It was definitely something I prayed about, like, hey, should I go? I called my husband, like, hey, boo, what do you think? I was like, this is really important to me, to go. And he was like, hey, you're out there and I'm not sure. He was like, he really didn't want me to go. But his words, like, Rouella, you're going to do what you want to do anyway. True story. And I feel like, just me being out there during this time, there was no reason for me not to. There was, I was marching for these fallen young kings, these fallen queens, and I want to make sure my kids know that their mom isn't out there just to be out there. I think that was probably the hardest part. Like my kids, my daughter started asking me, hey, can I go with you? Every time I talked to her. Or my son, he would be like, Mom, are you going to come back to our house? And I think just me being a mother, that was probably one of the hardest decisions I had to make to go out there. And I just hope and pray that they understand why I went and why I left. Because even now, like I went to work here. You leave one pandemic to come to another pandemic,
Yeah.
Damn. And I woke up to go to work, and my husband called me at work. He was like, hey, I was like, well, hey, how's the kids? He's just like, they were looking for you. I'm like, oh yeah, I bet. And I was like, well, what did they say? And well, my 8-year-old, he's like, where's mom? I'm like, oh, she's at work. Was she coming back? I'm like, oh, no, she's work here. She'll be back tonight. And he's like, oh, okay. Because they knew I was at work. Like, technically, when I went to the East Coast, he would just tell them I was at work. Which, kudos to him. He did an amazing job, like, kudos to my husband, 4 kids,
yes, ma'am.
It's just, he held everything down, like the school year was still ending. He took over all of that. And, it just goes to show you how resilient people are during this time. And I applaud everybody for doing everything they can, especially with everything going on. It was a hard experience for sure, especially when everything happened while I was out there.
Yes, ma'am. Excellent. So Khadija Kareem says she was crying with you. Thank you all for your comments. My sister Mimi said take your time. A lot of people saying turmeric, ginger, elderberry, which I've never heard of before. Ronald saying black dads matter. He also says your dad looks like Obama. You can't tell him he's in his 30s.
My dad does look like Obama.
I want to thank everyone for tuning in to a special edition of the People's Podcast this afternoon. Coming up next, we got top 5 to lighten the mood up a little bit. I want to thank you for dealing with such a serious subject, giving us some information as well as inspiration. I hope you all listen, stay out, stay out of the way, stay out of from among all of the people. Before I let you go, ma'am, I just want to have a quick commercial break to announce the people who are sponsors of this episode's podcast. First of all, I'm gonna start with Ronald, BMW Entertainment out in Phoenix, Arizona. They put on event planning everywhere. Thank you for that. My brother Rashad and Jamal with Street Premiere Video Production. They have a 4K drone. They do editing, television, film. Reach out to them. My sister Miriam, ABC I Love Me, coloring book and children's book, which is on Amazon. Thank you very much, Mimi. My sister Naima, Stay on Point Dance Academy, LLC on Instagram. She teaches ballet virtually to young women. Supreme Men's Clothing, St. Louis, Missouri, 40835 West Florissant Avenue, 314-528-555. Thank you very much. Brother Kenneth Bowtie, Maker Extraordinaire, 917-337-1380. He will ship the bow ties everywhere. Supreme Team Insurance, Todd X. McGraw, 803-521-2787. Baby Bean Pies out in Oakland County, California. That's Brother Carlton. This is Zakiya Muhammad. Thank you very much. Sister Shelly Hassan, Exodus, A New Way of Life, creditrestoration.com. That's if you need your credit fixed, reach out to them. Her. Brother Chantel X, Supreme Express, the X Factor in Transportation and Logistics out of Houston, Texas. Thank you very much. Sister Serena Woodford, Fort Lauderdale, designsofcomposure.com. Highly Textured Hair, Natural Skin Products. Thank you, Sister Shelley. Las Vegas, Khaliq's Boutique. Also new, Maurice D. Muhammad, 24 karat gold by the gram or tenths, the real money online, Asiatic Sense. They dealing with gold. If you want to get your gold, thank you very much, sir. I'm coming right back to you so you can say goodbye to everyone. Sister Tia Vinos, Muhammad, Raising Black Millionaires flashcards. Thank you very much for your support. Last but not least, my father's book, A Soldier in the Movement of Christ, AbdulSharif.com. Thank you very much. My 2 books, No Father, No Excuses, on Amazon now. My children's book, Cleopatra with a K, is on Amazon as well. Thank you all very much for your sponsorship. Cash App, the $, the People's Podcast, and thank you again for coming on and giving us some great information as well as inspiration today. I hope that you stay healthy, stay fit. Thank your husband for his sacrifice. Thank your children for holding it down. And man, thank you for putting up with Ronald and all his jokes.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I really enjoyed it, and I hope I answered your questions. I really appreciate you taking the time to hear me out.
Okay, no problem. Thank you very much, and you have a great day.
Bye.